The bathroom was silent except for the sound of your own breathing. You sat on the floor, legs folded beneath you, staring at the pregnancy test in your hands. The two pink lines stared back like a secret only you knew. You smiled at first, a small, soft smile. You touched your stomach with trembling fingers. "You are real," you whispered. A piece of him, a piece of that night, the moment that never felt like a mistake, only a comfort you never thought you would be allowed. But then, like a switch being flipped, your mind spiraled. Will he be happy? The thought hit you like cold water. You were creating a dream life, but will he be okay with this? You were 20. Still finding your place in a world that had kicked you out. You had no degree, no family, no identity beyond the grief that shaped you. And he was 28, a billionaire, respected, feared, alone by choice. You weren't in a relationship, he never called you his, he never promised a future. That night, that storm, it was vulnerability, a shared collapse. Yes, he promised so many things, a future together, but was he serious? Can you trust his promises that were made in the moment of vulnerability? And now this. Child, what if he doesn't want it? What if he regrets everything? What if I ruin his life? You clutched the test tighter, your fingers shaking. All the joy that bloomed in your chest just moments ago withered like dried petals. You can't do this, your thoughts whispered. You are alone again. You can't tell him. You shoved the test into your pocket and stood up. Your legs were unsteady. Your fingers still trembled as you walked down the hallway. You didn't know where you were going, just away, away from the mirror, away from that girl who thought she could dream again. You headed to the greenhouse, needing air, needing something alive around you, but your thoughts were too loud, too heavy. You didn't see the tall vase standing near the corner. Your shoulder knocked into it. It toppled and crashed to the floor, shattering into pieces. Shit. You gasped, dropping to your knees, heart pounding, eyes wide. That's when you heard the front door close. What happened? Your hands paused when you heard his voice. You looked up. Jungkook was standing a few feet away, jacket still on, tie loosened, worry clouding his face. He dropped his briefcase and rushed over. "Are you hurt?" he asked, crouching beside you, grabbing the larger pieces of glass with bare hands. "Are you bleeding? Ryan, look at me." You shook your head quickly, trying to catch your breath. I'm fine, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. Hey, stop. Why do you look like you have seen a ghost? You tried to stand, avoiding his gaze. "It's nothing. I was just going to the greenhouse. I'll clean this up, I promise." You turned to walk away. He caught your wrist. "Don't do that." You froze. "Don't shut down on me. Something is wrong. You have been pale for days, and Mrs. Hunt told me you threw up this morning. She said you even fainted last night while folding the laundry." You pulled your hand back. "It's nothing. I haven't been sleeping." "Ryan, what's with your behavior? Tell me what happened." His voice wasn't angry, it was worried, shaky. "You're hiding something. Tell me now or I'm calling a doctor. We are going right now." "No." You immediately pulled your hand back in fear. "If you go to see the doctor, the truth will be out in front of him." You turned too fast. That's when it happened. The test slipped out of your pocket and landed on the floor, right at his feet. Time stopped. You stood frozen, mouth parted, eyes wide in panic. He looked down slowly, bending. He picked up the tiny stick and saw the two pink lines. He didn't speak. You didn't breathe. He stared at it as if trying to will it into something else, something explainable. But it didn't change, it didn't lie, it was real. And when his eyes finally lifted to yours, there was a long loaded silence. You stood frozen, hands clenched, eyes glassy. He swallowed. Does it belong to you? His voice was low, barely a whisper, like he was afraid the answer might shatter something inside him. You couldn't say it. You just nodded, and that was all it took. Your tears, held back by trembling lips and tight fists, broke loose, one after another, falling fast and warm down your cheeks. I'm sorry. You didn't even realize you were whispering. I didn't know. I didn't mean to. I didn't know how to tell you. You covered your mouth as your body shook. Everything you were afraid of, his reaction, his silence, the weight of being too young, too broken, too alone, came crashing down all at once. You turned ready to run, ready to bury yourself before he could say something you weren't strong enough to hear. But he moved faster. He dropped the test on the floor and stepped forward in one smooth breath. His hand wrapped around your wrist gently, not to stop you, to reach you. Hey, he said softly, look at me. You couldn't, so he took your hands, slowly pulling them from your face, until your watery eyes met his, and to your surprise, he was crying too. Silent tears glistening in his lashes, trailing down his sharp cheeks, but his eyes, God, his eyes looked at you like you were something fragile and sacred at the same time. You are really pregnant? You nodded again, your voice barely escaping. Yes. And then, after a pause, his voice, a whisper laced with something deeper. Then why are you hiding it? Didn't you want to tell me? You couldn't speak for a second, your lips trembled, hands wringing the hem of your oversized sweater. The truth sat on your tongue like broken glass. Because I thought, your voice cracked, I thought you would be disgusted. He blinked as if you had just hit him. Disgusted? He took a step away. You thought I would be disgusted by this? He held up the test again. By the fact that I'm going to be a father? You looked away ashamed. It happened in a moment of vulnerability, Jungkook. That night, we were both broken. I didn't think you were serious. You didn't say anything the next morning. You just... Your voice cracked again. I thought you would regret it. That was when he dropped the test on the table and stepped forward. He let go of your hands only to bring his palms up to your face gently, so gently like he was afraid you would break it if he touched too hard. He cupped your cheeks, fingers trembling slightly, eyes boring into yours. I'm not that weak, he said quietly, voice thick with emotion. To make you a part of my life in a moment of vulnerability. I was fully aware of what I was doing that night. You blinked, his words pressing into your soul like warmth into frost. You think I touched you because I was lost? He whispered. You think I kissed you, held you, let you in because I was confused? He shook his head, still holding your face. No, I made you mine that night, without hesitation, without a doubt. Your tears started again. He didn't stop them, he only wiped them softly with the pad of his thumb, his own eyes glistening just as much. But Jungkook, you whispered, your heart was cracking wide open. We are not even married. We are not in a relationship. What will people say? What if they think I tried to trap you? What if... Leave what they think. His voice was suddenly fierce, not at you but for you. You think I care about society's rules? About how the world sees us? You think I'm going to let them write the story when I finally have something that makes me feel alive? He stepped even closer, foreheads nearly touching. You're not just carrying my child. You are my home. You looked up at him through your tears. But I'm just a girl, Jungkook. I have nothing, no name, no family, no title. You have me. You're going to give birth to the heir of this family, my family. You are my family. His voice cracked that time. He pulled you into his arms again, wrapping you tight against his chest. You have me. And now you have our child. And nothing matters more than that. Your body shook as your arms went around him. You could feel his heartbeat racing. I was so scared. You choked. I thought I would lose you before I even really had you. You have me, he murmured into your hair. You have had me since the moment I saw you crying outside the ICU. Since the moment I watched you break and realized I would do anything to protect you. Even now, especially now. He pulled back just enough to place his palm flat over your stomach. This child is the beginning of everything I thought I didn't deserve, but you. His voice softened again, unbearably tender. You made me believe in future. So what now? You whispered. What do we do now? He looked into your eyes. We give this baby a family. Your eyes widened. I mean we get married? Not because we have to, but because I want to. Because I want you to be my wife, not just the mother of my child. But you don't even know if I'll be a good mother. He smiled, a real aching smile, and kissed your forehead. You'll be a great one, because you already care enough to be terrified. You let out a shaky laugh, your tears still falling but softer now. You are sure, Jungkook? No regrets? Only one, he whispered, pressing a kiss to your forehead. That I didn't meet you sooner. The greenhouse hadn't changed, same rustling leaves, same faint scent of roses, same soft creak of the old wooden floor when you stepped inside, but somehow tonight it felt different, more sacred. You turned and saw him, Jungkook, walking in slowly behind you, dressed in black slacks and a shirt unbuttoned at the collar, sleeves rolled to his forearms. His hair was slightly messy, and his eyes, God, those eyes, still the same ones that found you outside the ICU. But warmer now, less haunted. You remember this place? He asked in a voice so soft. I cried here. You whispered, smiling slightly. You did, he said, walking closer, and I watched you from the hallway. You didn't come in because I didn't want to ruin something so fragile. Your heart thudded quietly in your chest. He reached into his pocket, pulled out something small, then he dropped to one knee, right where the rose petals had fallen. The first night you stood here after moving in, you gasped, hands over your mouth. Jungkook, you're not fragile anymore, he said, looking up at you like you were the center of gravity. You are stronger than anyone I know, and I can't think of a better person to build a family with, to raise a child with. You don't have to do this out of obligation. You whispered, eyes already glassy. This isn't obligation, this is the easiest decision I've ever made. He opened the small velvet box, a delicate ring set inside, simple, timeless, shimmering under the soft glow of the greenhouse lights. Marry me, he said, voice trembling. Not for the world, not for our baby, but because I want you as mine. Your knees gave out before you could even speak. You dropped to your knees too, face in your hands, sobbing, the kind of cry that only comes when joy collides with disbelief. Yes, you whispered, wrapping your arms around his neck. Yes, yes. He laughed softly against your shoulder. His own eyes were wet. You just made me the luckiest man alive. I love you. He curved your face and kissed you. 2 weeks later, you stepped into the private clinic with Jungkook holding your hand like it was made of glass. The ring sparkled on your finger. The nurse smiled, clearly aware of who he was, but too professional to gawk. She's around 7 weeks, Jungkook said before you could. She has been getting nauseous early in the morning, especially if she hasn't eaten, and she's sleeping a lot more. You turned to him blinking. How do you know all that? He smirked slightly. I Google everything the second you fall asleep. Inside the ultrasound room, the room was quiet, dim lights, the smell of antiseptic. Your hands gripped his tightly as the gel was spread across your lower belly. Then, small, flickering sound, tiny, steady, the heartbeat. Your child's, the screen showed a blurry shape, a flutter of movement. You choked back a sob, and beside you, Jungkook's jaw clenched. His eyes glistened. That's our baby, he whispered, voice turned hoarse. You looked up at him and saw something new. Not the billionaire, not the man who built empires, but just a man, your man, your baby's father, wiping his eyes as he kissed your knuckles and whispered, "Thank you for not giving up on me." Back at the mansion, you walked through the halls a little nervous, hand brushing your bump. Jungkook had wanted to keep the news quiet, but today he asked the staff to gather in the main drawing room. You stood by the window, unsure what to say, but Jungkook, standing beside you, gently squeezed your hand. "I'll talk," he whispered. The room fell quiet as he stepped forward. "I want you all to know," he began, clearing his throat, "that I'm getting married." Eyes widened, a few even gasped. One of the older housekeepers clutched her purse to her. He added, nodding at you with the softest smile you had ever seen him wear. "She's not only my fiancée, but also the mother of my child." There was complete silence for a few seconds, but then Mrs. Hunt clapped her hand over her mouth. "Oh my god," she whispered. "Sir, you're glowing." One of the younger maids let out a squeal. The gardener, Mr. Bake, muttered, "The boss? With a baby? I never even saw him smile before she came." You flushed, but Jungkook stepped closer and placed a soft kiss on your temple. "She's the reason I smile now." Later that night, in bed, your head on his chest, his hand over your belly, he whispered the words he never got to hear as a child. "You're already so loved, little one." You closed your eyes, and for the first time in years, you knew this was your home. Now you don't only share his bed or house, but his future, a family and a promise, the love you never get from others, you found in each other, and now you'll make a happy family that you always dreamt of.